Well, it's been a while. Um, Not necessarily because I never felt like it, but Brian and I have been, well, the few times that I felt like talking about it, or talking to myself, I've talked to Brian. Um, my depression's gotten better. I would say significantly overall. I mean, I'm sure to an extent it has to do with the sun, the weather, although I do love me some rain. But I took that leave of absence and I've been back to work for almost a month. It's work, right? It's a paycheck. But I felt a sense of accomplishment when I was on my leave. I redid all of our kitchen cabinets. I sanded them and restained them. Who knows when the last time they had a really good clean was. Um, 4th of July is tough. That's the weekend that it feels like our family kind of really, well, became what it is. It all started 4th of July 2020. It's gotten easier to an extent, but I always feel a bit melancholy, I suppose, around this time of year. Missing what was, even if it was all a little bit of a facade, a bit playing pretend. I've been working on a letter to my dad, and I'm going to send it on the 4th of July. I'm pretty much done with it, I think. I started it, I mean, I never really drafted it in my head, because once I'm like actively drafting it in my head, then I need to get it out and put it on paper. But I've been kind of thinking in general, at least, probably for years, honestly, what I'd ultimately want to say. And a lot of the time, I came out angry. I mean, it came out differently every time, really. Angry, sad, matter of fact. Not really sure exactly what's got me actually sitting down and writing it. Actually, I kind of do. Brian and I were talking, and I told him what I wanted to tell my dad, and I said it in like a 3-minute nutshell. Of course, that's way too short. I can't get away with just that, but that night I kind of wrote something out, and it was very much, this is my point of view. This is where our relationship took a turn, and this is why we don't talk. Found out recently-ish, actually even before I sat down to write the letter, that he's married. I can't say I'm surprised. What I am not surprised but fucking grossed out about is that he married somebody who's 3 months younger than I am. And yet I'm kind of not surprised. Like, of course he'd just be that creepy fucking old dude. Even that didn't really push me to make, because that's not what that letter's about. I could say whatever about that, but that's not why I was writing it. And I could totally give him a piece of my mind if I wanted to, but I didn't want that to be the letter either. So the first draft was really, I guess matter of fact is probably really the best way to put it. Been protecting my throat a lot when I talk about my dad. It's interesting. Side note. But it was really, I addressed it to whom it may concern because dear anything just wasn't right. Dad, he doesn't get that title. Dave feels colder than to whom it may concern, I guess. I don't know. Just to whom it may concern felt most appropriate. And yeah, it was just like, this is what happened for me. It was really like a good, very brief, but still like a page and a half timeline of what happened for me. That I thought we were closest than we'd ever been. Be the four of us, including Brian, both mom, dad, and us. And then 2020 was hard for everybody for different reasons. And he joined a cult of Trump. And he didn't actively join it. He didn't know. I hope that he understands now that he was, but because there's still a part of me that doesn't think he's that hateful of a person. Never thought he was. And it's still hard for me to see him like that. But yeah, just kind of did a brief. Things happened in 2020. Our family kind of cracked on 4th of July. And then he wouldn't stop commenting, just making comments, which is not like him, oddly enough. And there's no way that the ignorance that was coming out of his mouth was going to go ignored by me, by my older brother. My younger brother just pretended like nothing was happening. And to an extent, I get it. He was living with them. I get wanting to stay out of it in that situation. He set some boundaries with them. It was his business. But, that happened, and then he sent that fucking email. It was the fucking email that told me who he was. And ultimately, I didn't like what I saw. It was bigoted, it was racist, it was condescending. And for months, I mean, before I got the letter, I struggled with it. After I got the letter, it's like a constant battle of just, who is this person? Did he really type that out and email that? Just as a battle, it still is. I mean, if I spend any amount of time thinking about it, which I don't, because what good does that do me? I've spent years, basically, almost constantly thinking about it. And just revealed some parts of his character to me that I could not reconcile. And I realized that I didn't know who he was. That, I mean, it's not his fault that I don't know, maybe it is, just kidding. But it's not his fault that I don't have many childhood memories. I guess, or maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know why I don't. I don't remember a lot of my childhood. But I remember him coaching everything. I remember him always being there. I always talked to him. But what I realized is that I was the one pretty much doing all the talking. He never really revealed much of himself. He was always quiet, sarcastic, but like who he was, like deep down, like as an adult when you get to know people, obviously it's different as a child. And I know that, and that's why I don't resent him for the bullshit that generational trauma that he passed on. So I understand. He did the best he could with the tools that he had, but it felt like he never tried to develop those tools or improve upon them, at least not when he had the chance to. And let's be honest, he ended the discussion with that email. At the end of the email, he said, I'm not talking about this anymore. And if that means you can't have a relationship with me, then so be it. And that's not his exact words, but I got the message. And as I contemplated what I remembered, and I thought I was the closest to him as I'd ever been, but I still didn't know him. There was a time when we went for a walk. Brian and I were still in the apartment in Mill Creek. And we went for a walk, and he and my mom were separated. They'd been for, I couldn't even tell you how long, but he wasn't living at home. I don't know. He wasn't living at home. And he was in school. He's doing something with UW, which I still couldn't even tell you what it was. I think he even taught, which is fucking weird. But we had a conversation, and obviously I don't remember exactly how it went, but he told me that when he was done, that's when he would make a decision about Mom. Spray bottle. That he would figure out what he was doing with his marriage. And when he went back, I believed him. I thought when he went back, he's gonna make a go of it. He's gonna try. They're gonna have conversations. They're gonna be in a fucking marriage. And like we saw it, they were holding hands and kissing, and it was nice to see and weird to see. But he didn't make any changes. And part of the reason that I'm angry at him is that he went back. And he shouldn't have. It was entirely selfish. Because it was easier. And part of me thinks that he didn't actually leave until he had the next one lined up. Maybe I'll never know. Maybe I will. Either way. That's how much I distrust him, at the very least. I mentioned in the letter, I mentioned the walk in Mill Creek and him telling me that he would make a decision about his marriage. And at the end of that paragraph, I asked, how long did it take for you to start cheating on her again? I mean, because they split because he cheated and she found out. How long did it take? I really wonder how many times he did cheat on her in their 30 years of marriage. Because I really doubt it was just once. I think he just got caught once. He got sloppy once. It was probably, I don't know. I don't know. That part was not in the original letter. That part was in the follow-up, the edits. But yeah, it was so simple. And after I wrote it, I didn't look at it for a few weeks. I just, I got it out. I didn't feel any need to send it. I think I knew that it was incomplete. But it is a really for me, well written. I didn't need that caveat. Anyway. It was well laid out. This is what happened for me. This is how I felt. This is how I came across. You left your family as if it was fucking nothing. And not just me. Everyone. He just fucking up and disappeared. He had season tickets to the Sounders and he didn't want any part of that. He had pets and he didn't want any part of that. I mean, his children were grown and adults, so at least we weren't at home and he abandoned us in that way, but it's not like he reached out. Anyway, so it was pretty basic. Just, these are, I think I thought on my sarcastic email subject when I do send it to him. I wanted to write it because I just put everything on paper. It's just how I am. And mail it to him, but I don't know his address and no one does. So I'll email it. And his email to me was just the facts, ma'am. I think that might be my subject. Maybe I'll leave in the ma'am. I don't know. We'll see how snarky I'm feeling. But then, almost 2 weeks ago, I found out that I'm 99% sure that he cheated on my mom with his new child, bride. Okay, fine, she's not a child. She's a grown-ass woman. Well, I don't know anything about her. I'm convinced she's not. That's for another time. Ugh. Anyways. But she's still over 25 years younger than him, half his age, literally, almost literally half his age. He was 51, she was 27. Ugh. God. Off track. Apparently I'm in a slashing mood tonight. But I'm pretty sure they were together before he actually separated with my mom. And when I found that information out, I was so upset. I'm so annoyed with myself for getting upset because I'm annoyed with him for still being that far enough under my skin that I do get upset. But every new thing that I find out about him just makes me, it reinforces my decision not to have a relationship with him. And it wasn't even finding out that he was married to somebody half his age practically. It was finding out that he didn't have the decency to leave my mom before he started fucking someone else. And maybe they weren't fucking, but you get the fucking point. It doesn't matter. Even if they weren't fucking, if he's still cheating on her, still emotional at the very least. At least. She deserved better than that. Marriage is two people, and I am not letting my mom off the hook at all by any means. But he's the one who went back. He's the one who cheated. He's the one who... It was his responsibility to take charge. Anyways, so I got very upset. And that day, I wrote a new letter and was angry. It ended with, "Get help, and in the meantime, go fuck yourself." And it felt good to write, let me tell you. It was more, I actually hadn't even told Brian that I'd written the original letter. I don't know, I guess I knew it wasn't complete, and that's why. And so he read it, and he's like, "That is so nice." I don't know exactly what he said, but basically, like, and I was mad, and he's like, "Tell him what you feel, like, tell him off, like, write what you need to." So I did, and it felt good. I got it out of my system. But that's not what I wanted to send. I didn't want to send something that's angry and filled with fucks and ends with "go fuck yourself," even though that felt, and it would feel pretty good. But that evening I was in bed, and of course I was thinking about it, and I realized that I don't want him to receive an angry letter from me. I want him to receive a devastating letter from me. Something that is just sarcastic, that is, yeah, like, I want him to read it, and I want him to feel the way that I felt for the last 6 years. Not let down. Well, I mean, like he let himself down. And his family. The people he spent 30 years of his life with. And then drop it like it's hot. And so I wrote a new letter. And I combined it with the first letter because I felt like that was pretty well done. I had a couple little spicy little bits here and there, but I left it largely unchanged, if I recall correctly. And today, I think I fully finished editing it. Still starts with "to whom it may concern." Feels weird addressing a letter to the person who raised me like that. The person who I thought would always be there for me. Who I thought loved me unconditionally. A little bit more of that. And then it goes to say, "What you must think of me. How disappointed you must be in the woman you raised, the woman I turned out to be, because he doesn't really have anything to do with who I am right now. Maybe 10 years ago, for sure. I mean, for sure 10 years ago, not maybe. But now, that's all me, baby." But I listed a few positive attributes: strong-willed, passionate, kind, caring. Someone who cares so much about doing the right thing that she would stop having a relationship with her family on principle. I go on to shit on him a little bit in the sarcastic way, the most sarcastic, loving way possible. About him abandoning his family like we're fucking nothing. And even then, barely, like, communicating with my brothers, and he sees my younger brother all the time because my younger brother needs him. And I don't think that they would, I don't know, maybe they would. They see each other like every Wednesday for beers or something. So who knows? Maybe they would still have a relationship. But he doesn't talk to my older brother much. And I said, so I hear you're telling people that we don't talk because of politics. If only it were that simple. If I'm sure it's easier for him to say that it's because of politics than face his own shortcomings as a parent. That instead of addressing what was going on, literally, all he had to do is have a conversation with me. Like, how fucking stupid. How fucking stupid. I still can't get over that. I mean, I still talk to my fucking mom. Even if we're not close. Even if she couldn't care less about what's happening in my life. She couldn't care less about who I am as the grown person that I am. She probably still sees me as some teenage brat. It doesn't matter to me. Because another topic. Stay on course. But I still talk to her. We still see each other for holidays and occasionally other times. But I don't talk to him. And yes, it's because he refused to have a conversation with me, but it's also because of the absolute garbage that came out of what he did say, his contribution to the conversation via email. I just can't get over it. And I mean, I basically say that. And I tell him that it was bigoted, it was racist, and it was condescending. And I don't want to spend time with somebody like that. I don't want to spend time with people who think like that. And I'm pretty sure my mom, not actively, she's also brainwashed. Again, my mom and I's issues are completely separate from my dad and I's issues, even if they are related. And then my dad, we see each other Christmas of 2022, and I hear absolutely nothing from him for 7 months, almost 7 full months. And the only reason he reaches out to me is because my mom told him something was happening with me. We didn't have a relationship fucking anyway. So what? I told you don't text me. What difference does that make to you? We didn't talk. We didn't see each other. There was no fucking way in hell I was going to Christmas with him that year. Why would I? It feels so stupid because it feels, and I get where he's coming from. I'm sure it feels like that was politics. And I highly doubt that he's done any amount of soul searching and could take even a second to consider that it's anything but politics that has kept us apart. Which is part of the reason I'm sending the letter as well. But the more I find out about him through other people, the less I want to be around him, the less I want to know him, the less I want to reconnect. And I think even before, I thought, like, maybe we would. And it's always been with the caveat that he does a lot of fucking work, that it's kind of weird to say, but he figures out who the hell he is. I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows who he is. But the person he showed me is not. And he just thought that I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what he thought, but I'm willing to bet you he thought that he'd be able to send that letter and we would just pretend like nothing happened, just like we always do in that. And that's what we were taught. That's how we grew up. You barely address anything that was said or done. You pretend like it didn't happen and you move on with your life. I'm beyond that. That's good and well for you, but it's not me. And so at the end, I told him that, well, I hope this clears it up for you. I understand if you keep telling people that it's because of politics, because it's a hell of a lot easier than saying that you fell short as a father. And instead of looking inward and trying to see what you could do to mend the relationship, you ran away like a coward. I might have used the word coward. I think I used the word coward, and because really, he sent that email in 2021, but I didn't cut off our relationship until 2023. We saw each other for 2 Christmases. I'm pretty sure, we saw each other. Not often. And by 2023, we hadn't seen each other since the Christmas prior anyway. But I remember at that Christmas prior, not that we saw each other on Christmas, because Mom gets Christmas because she wants to go all out. And he doesn't care to do anything. We did dinner. And I'm like, how's work? How's life? How's, whatever question I ask, whatever question I ask, I get exactly what I would expect from him. Good. Oh, it's, yeah. Yeah, I sometimes have to go to the office sometimes. Fucking nothing. Just like talking to my mom. But the difference was that we had the difference was, and I think I kind of realized this in therapy this week, still doing IFS, internal family systems. I haven't done a video about that, I don't think at all, since I started. Maybe one to come. Not that anybody's watching this but me. But my ability to feel safe around somebody determines how much of myself I give to them. And I realized when I got that letter and he ended it the way he did, it was fucking devastating. I didn't read that letter again for over a year. And the first time I read it again was because I was reading it to the therapist I had at the time. It was devastating. But I realized that he wasn't a safe person anymore. I couldn't be myself. I couldn't speak my mind. I couldn't let down the mask. And I don't And once someone loses that, once someone has shown me that they're not safe, that I'm not safe with them, physically I'm fine, obviously. But mentally, as me, that's when they lose me. And I realized that that's really, when it comes down to it, that's what happened. It's the same thing with Brian's parents. They're going to have to earn my trust back. Because I know what they said. Well, one of them said. I know what. And I'm not gonna, I still see them. Because it was never racist, bigoted bullshit. But they're not going to see the passionate side of me come out. They're unsafe. I am fully masked. I am dissociative. They'll get some information and they probably don't even see a difference. Truly, I highly doubt that they do. And if they did, I'd be absolutely fucking shocked. Like, stunned silent. But there's something, I think that part of my CPTSD and the trauma that I have experienced in my life has taught me that people are unsafe. And so when I give myself to you, enough of myself that you see me for me, like truly, and you literally tell me that, this is the last of it, take it or leave it, I'm not going to have this conversation with you anymore. Not that he even had a conversation, but I won't talk to you about this anymore. Something that's incredibly important to you that you've expressed repeatedly. It's so important to you. And not only that, if that means we can't have a relationship, then that means we can't have, like, I hate that it's still so devastating. But of course it is. He was my dad. There's a little girl in there. That still loves her daddy. It remembers the rides in the Blazer and the music and the soccer games and the basketball tournaments, and who knows how much they sacrificed for me. I played 2 select sports year round and we were not wealthy. Like, I know. And there's that part of me that's so terribly sad. That wants to cling to that. But the rest of me, we know he's not safe. My mom's not safe either. But I guess we'll talk about my mom. Part of the reason that, I think honestly, part of the reason that I'm able to still be in relationship with my mother is because we've never had a great relationship. It's always been pretty rocky. I never felt she really knew me or understood me. And so she's never let me down like my dad has. I've known for she did. She let me down. She let me know she was unsafe when I was in middle school. And we were never close anyway at that point. I told her something. She used it against me. Something. I told her I was lonely. I didn't feel like I had friends. And days later, she says, "No wonder you don't have any friends." Because I was probably being a shit as a teenager. What teenagers aren't? And I knew then that my mom wasn't safe. I remember. That was the point where I knew, without a doubt, that my mom was unsafe. And so and I was never as close to her as I was to him. So it was never as devastating to lose that parent. And I think that's probably a big part of the reason why I still talk to my mom. Beside the fact that she didn't abandon everybody. Yeah, beside that, she still reaches out and asks how we are, even if she's only reaching out because she wants to tell us what's going on with her. But I feel like it's time. It's time to send the letter. It's been almost really close to approaching 3 years since I asked him not to text me anymore. I don't actively grieve him. Holidays are rough, and okay, fine, I do actively grieve him, but it's in phases. It's not all the time. I've been having, for years, I've been having phantom heart palpitations where I feel like my heart is racing. It's gonna sometimes, I had a dream last week where I felt like my heart was actively beating out of my chest. But it's normal, it's 70 beats a minute, or, it's not what it feels like. And I realized that I think that has to do with him a little bit. Because something had happened several weeks ago. It was not recent. Not super recent. Where I started, we try to address the heart palpitations in therapy and IFS 1 week, and I couldn't really access them. But after we did, they kind of went away. Not entirely, but almost entirely. And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. And then I read this book about autoimmune diseases, and the couple of examples were about throat autoimmune diseases. And my friend has a throat thing going on. And so I started feeling, instead of casually feeling heart palpitations, I started casually feeling like my throat was tight. And I was like, what the fuck? I preferred the heart palpitations. I blame the book. But a big part of the book was people, and I'm not about to get in an argument here. Not that anybody's watching, but I'm not about to get in an argument here. The book, I didn't write it. I got good value out of it. But people who don't speak their mind, who hold back, a lot of them have throat issues. And I think, in a way, my body was telling me that I needed to get it out. And then a couple weeks ago, I don't know, my dad got brought up. I mean, it's unavoidable sometimes. And I started feeling a bit of that heart palpitation that I hadn't felt in a while. I'd just been in my throat. And I was like, oh, so the heart palps are at least somewhat related to Dad. And I think I'm not writing this letter for him. I told him in the letter he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve this letter. He doesn't deserve my communication. I'm doing this for me. Because I have this innate need to say my piece. It's like I tell Brian all the time when something happens, like dramatic, whatever it is. I need to tell 3 or 4 people before I feel better about it. It's just, which is why I don't usually have a bunch of throat stuff. Thank goodness, because I got a bunch of other body stuff. But I think I'm ready. And I don't think my letter really invites communication. But what I did tell him is that he could email me. He can't text me, but he could email me if he had anything to say worth talking about or something along those lines. And I haven't emailed him first. I don't think at all ever. And this will be that time. Probably the one. Based off how I'm feeling, the one. I'm not going to add it, but before I got angry at him again and was considering maybe opening up lines of communication with him again, Brian and I protest on Friday evenings for an hour and a half. We wave signs because I can't do nothing, and it's not a lot, but it's something. And I was going to write a PS. If you ever feel like chatting, Brian and I are here on the corner of this street and this street every Friday night. I think that'd be hilarious. Mostly because there's no fucking way he'd show up. And if he did, he'd realize what the invitation actually was. And it'd be better if we saw him pull up, realize what we were inviting him to, and then leave. But I'm not interested in that at this point in time. So like I said, I told him that every single time, every new thing I learn about him makes me question his character more. Ooh, just got a weird headache. Damn. Time for bed. I have to work tomorrow. Rude. But I feel good about it. Yeah. And the real schmidge. Brian started IFS as well. It's not my information to tell, but we're doing better. I feel like we're communicating more, and even if he doesn't entirely know what's going on with him, he is actively working on figuring out, well, feeling the difficult things and understanding them. And that's all I ask. I don't feel like I'm asking a lot. Also, we have a vacation that we're planning, and he better fucking step up because it's supposed to be our 10-year wedding anniversary vacation. And, well, I mean, that's not what it is. We're going to Brazil for his brother's wedding because he married a Brazilian. Aren't we lucky? But we're using it as an excuse to take a 2-ish week vacation and get away and do whenever we feel like, truly. But he better fucking help plan it because, well, anyway. But it's really important to me that he contributes to it. I want to be planning our anniversary trip by myself. That it's just another thing to make me feel lonely, and I don't need that shit. And I told him that. I did. So hopefully you heard me.